Well, goddamn. Now, if you're thinking that I use God's name in vain, I really need you to hold that thought, okay? Because by the time we're done, you're going to understand why exactly that reaction is the whole point. You ready? All right, let's go. Please understand that the word God is a title. It's not a name. I mean, every major civilization in human history had gods, right? And every single one of them, of those beings, had names, right? The Sumerians, the Egyptians, the Greeks, the Romans, they all had names for these entities. So when somebody tells me that I'm using God's name in vain, my first question is which God? And then what name? Because most of you out there that's making these accusations can't even answer that simple question, because y'all think God's name is God. Okay. You know, now I use the name Jesus in my content, okay, even though I know that's not his name, but I use that because most of y'all were raised on that. And quite honestly, I'm just meeting y'all where y'all are at, okay, if you want to be real. Okay, and this is Google. They tell you what to believe. Imagine that. I remember I tell you they change definitions, vocabulary words. They're changing them in real time, but y'all are too busy not understanding and not paying attention. Like this right here. The literal meaning. Who made the literal meaning of this? You have to remember that that name has been translated, retranslated, passed through Greek, Latin, and a dozen other languages over thousands of years, right? Okay, and if we're being completely honest with each other, nobody alive honestly could tell you with absolute certainty what his name actually is. The closest researchers have placed together from ancient text, Yeshua, okay, but even that's debated. And look, I wouldn't be surprised at all if the real records were locked away somewhere where the rest of us will never see it. Just like so much of history that's been buried or destroyed, right? Okay? But here's the thing that I really need you to understand, because what does it actually mean to use God's name in vain? Okay? We're going to go to your Bibles for this one. Do you remember when Jesus walked into the temples and flipped those tables? Why did he do that? Because those priests, those rabbis, those Roman soldiers were running the marketplace, right? They were collecting money, selling animals, and exchanging currency and whatnot, right? All while wrapping it up in the authority of God. They were profiting off of the people in the name of the divine. And that right there, my friends, is using God's name in vain. Okay? Real talk, not a word that I say in my videos. And I don't use that all the time. I'm not recommending you use it, okay? Please don't think I just use it. I just, sometimes it's passion I use, okay? And, I mean, just look at what's happening today. Look at churches that file a 501c3 with the IRS, which gives them full federal tax exemption, right? This goes for every single thing out there, whether it be universities to elementary schools. They have to stick to a curriculum. The teacher can teach it how she wants, but they got to stick to a curriculum in order to get their funding, right, from the federal government, our tax dollars, right? And farmers, in order to get their funding, right, from tax dollars, their funding, they have to stick to a certain amount of rules. They have to pesticide their stuff. They have to do this, do that with the federal government, plant these seeds, all this other shit. They are under too much. All tyranny, if you ask me. Okay, but this is the reason why the same with the churches. This is the same right. And in exchange, the government, like I said, gives you a set of rules that you have to operate in. Okay, just like your sermon, your pastor was preaching, or your priest was preaching this past Sunday, right? It was planned, it was structured. It flows through a denominational chain. It goes all the way to the top. Okay, and that chain decides what the people are going to hear that week. That's just real talk. That's not a theory. That's actually the structure. Okay. And I got experience with this. I was a Catholic 37 years of my life. I sat in that pew 37 years listening to that priest for 37 years, every single Sunday, and sometimes, depending on what the holidays were, you know, I sat in the pews. I have never heard that priest talk about Psalms 82:6. Never. And yet, most of us stake our entire belief system off of one book, one translation. Over 450 English translations of the Bible alone. Real talk. And that's before we even touch Hebrew, Aramaic, and the Greek it was originally written in. Yeah, look, I'm not here to attack anybody's faith. Please know that. Okay, I'm here because truth doesn't fear questioning, and the moment somebody tells you to stop asking questions is exactly the moment you should start asking more. So do me a favor, stay curious, stay enlightened, and always smile. I love y'all. I'll see you on the next one. Later.
Why do you think that Truman has never come close to discovering the true nature of his world until now?
We accept the reality of the world with which we're presented.
What's dangerous is when the universe pick you and you put on the magic glasses. There's rules that go with them. You can never take them off. You never see things that they're supposed to be. You see things as they are. You can never force nobody else to wear them. So